I am in my garage and kind of wanted to show you a new pickup I got today, and unfortunately it doesn't fit in my game room, so let's go ahead and get this bad boy plugged in and talk a little bit about it. I managed to pick up a Tekken tag tournament cabinet under $100. Today I went to a local, I guess you could call coin-op swap meet, vending machines, arcade machines, pinball machines, all sorts of other stuff. And they had a Tekken tag tournament machine here, and they weren't very experienced sellers, to say the least. They said this thing worked 100%, and that wasn't the case at all when I actually started looking at the machine with them, which was why I got it for so cheap. The monitor on this thing is a 25-inch monitor, probably the biggest monitor I have for a arcade cabinet, and looks fantastic. And as you can see there, I think this was originally a Tekken 3 machine, and you can see they've added in the button to do the tag. And if you hear a lot of wind noise, it's actually from my fan. I'll turn it off because it's very, very humid, which is really bad for the machines, I know, but I'll get to why it's in here in a second. But as you can see, they drilled in the button for the punch and did a pretty crappy job cleaning it up on both sides. But what I like about this thing is the fact that I could easily add a 6 button and maybe put a CPS2 setup in here, which would be really, really cool. I guess we can talk a little bit about the cabinet itself. It is an actual Namco cabinet. You can't really see because I have it put in the back here of all the rest of the stuff. I didn't want it by the car and kind of near the outside of the garage, just because I didn't want any more humidity getting in, which is an understatement. It's already humid as hell in here. And side art wise, it does have a lot of the side art left. Obviously in the front it has it in the side as well. As well as the Namco, that's on both sides. Marquee is still pretty much in good shape. Plexiglass isn't bad. The decals are in decent shape. And well, we'll talk a little bit about the actual control panel here. Now, this is when we first started running into our issues. The guy said, oh yeah, the machine works 100%. Started hitting the player 1 button. Opened the thing up, he looked, he didn't notice anything. And the funny thing was, I noticed right away there wasn't a micro switch here to actually start the player 1. And he really didn't understand that, so that's how I kind of knew I was dealing with an inexperienced seller, kind of a first-timer. Another thing for claiming that it worked 100% was the fact that these tag buttons were drilled in, and they didn't have micro switches there either. Typically, when a game works 100%, you should be able to tag, and seeing as this game is called Tekken Tag Tournament, kind of necessary, especially in this game, because it's not like other tag games where if you run out of energy, you simply, you know, default to the next guy, you lose the round. So you really need to have that tag button working. That wasn't working either. Another thing was the buttons on the front here. As you can see, it's kind of a mishmash of buttons, and that's because I had to replace them. Now, he said he has a buddy that helps him do this stuff, and I don't know why his buddy didn't look at the actual buttons themselves. The button springs would not go at all. The mechanisms inside the buttons were not working at all. They were sticking. So literally, when you saw this thing, you could only hit 2 buttons on this thing that actually worked. Everything was just absolutely stuck. You couldn't do anything with this thing practically. So that was another thing I hit him on about that. That and the monitor started, you know, losing its hold on it, which actually turned out just to be a V-Sync thing, and I knew that right away, so I kind of hit him on that too, again showing that he was an inexperienced seller. So I was able to get a decent price knocked down on this, which is really awesome. You know, the control panel comes off here, which is really nice, makes things easy to work on. Already got the stuff done where I needed to add an additional hookup for the ground here for that. The JAMA harness cables for it were on the bottom, so I was able to hook up the tag stuff pretty easily. But the issue is, and this is why it's in the garage, it's too freaking big to fit through my basement entrance. I don't have a walk-in basement, unlike that lucky bastard Tim, aka Jumble Junkie, has a walk-in basement, and right now I'm very jealous of that. I do not have a walk-in basement, And the entrance to the basement is roughly, probably a little bit under 31 inches, and this cabinet from left to right happens to be 34 inches on the top, and I can't see any other way of actually getting this in from left to right or turning it, just because of how wide the body is on the bottom, which really sucks. You know, I brought this thing in myself today, so I didn't have anyone else to really eyeball it and say maybe it'll work, but as it stands, I don't think it'll work downstairs. So I thought, you know what? Maybe get a couple people over. I'll put it up in my game room. I'll move my black shelf with the rest of my games and stuff like that, and I'll have an arcade cabinet up there, even though that kind of defeats the purpose of my downstairs game room. And it's not going to fit up there either. It'll go up the stairs, up to the loft, but it will not go through the door in my game room from what I am measuring out, which is really unfortunate. So it kind of leaves me in a position that, you know, I've looked to see if maybe I can take this top portion off, and from what I can tell, you can't. The only way to do that would be to actually damage the cabinet, and I don't want to do that at all, because the cabinet itself here on the bottom, I think, is only like 28 inches. It's these speaker grills and the top and left right-hand side of the top part of the cabinet that is the size issue, so I don't think we'd be able to make that work, unfortunately. So really, really disappointed there. And like I said, the humidity, right now it's like a sauna in here, no doubt about it. I am sweating balls right now. And, you know, that's not good for the machines, plain and simple. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to fix this thing up the rest of the way, get some buttons, and I'm probably going to have to sell this damn thing, which is really, again, a disappointment, because I'm not a big Tekken guy, but I'll play it. And like I said, I wanted to switch this over to a CPS too, so not too much I can do about it. Maybe I'll see if I can swap someone for a pinball machine or put a credit towards it, I don't know. But kind of disappointing there. But without further ado, we can take a quick look at gameplay here. One-handed gameplay, as you can imagine. We'll turn off this light here for starters. Kind of get a better look at the game here. And this is going to be awful because this is hard holding a camera, so.
Tag battle. Fight.
So, you know, I completely forgot that this was basically an enhanced version of Tekken 3, and the PS2 version was actually upgraded from the rest of them. Kind of interesting. So much for that. I got it set to 1 round for this right now, but overall, you know, I'm happy that I got it for such a low price, and that I was basically able to get it for under $100, which is pretty awesome. But kind of disappointing that I probably can't fit it in the game room, so we'll have to see what happens. That's all for now, guys. Peace.
The high-action pulp fantasy trilogy begins. Rogue's Bane by Rick A. Ferraro. Now available on Amazon.com and all Kindle-enabled devices. Buy your copy today. The legendary adventures of Talon continues in On Earth Destiny by Rick A. Ferraro. Now available on Amazon.com and all Kindle-enabled devices. Buy your copy today.